What's up, everyone? Before the show begins today, just want to reiterate the news from yesterday. I'm sure you already saw it, already heard it, but you guys can come attend this year's World Series and see it live and in person. It'll be in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on October 29th. So that's home of the Atlanta Falcons. Super excited to take on that stadium and to have you guys all there with us. Tickets go on sale tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Today's October 3rd. Tonight at 7. The link will be available on MLWwiffleball.com. I will also add the link on this video at the bottom of the description, but the link will be on MLWwiffleball.com, 7 p.m. Eastern. All the information is already there on the homepage. You can't miss it. So you have questions about ticket prices, parking, what's happening the day at the event, all that sort of thing. The information is there at 7 o'clock tonight. If you guys want to be there, especially for the meet and greets are going to sell out quick. But if you want to be there, be ready at 7 p.m. to purchase. Your ticket will come with an Atlanta Falcons ticket as well. So just going to be an incredible event. We're super excited. We're excited for the challenge. We're excited to see you all there and support us and hear you cheering on for the first time ever, the World Series champion in person. So once again, it's October 29th, Atlanta, Georgia. And tickets go on sale tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. And thank you guys so much for the support in advance. Really appreciate it. And we're so grateful that this is happening. So, all right, on with the show. All right, folks, big day today. Postseason breakdown in real time. This is previously recorded. Everything genuine today. Nothing fabricated. These are actual predictions. A couple of good dogs on the pod today.
Couple of dogs.
I'm nervous for this. Just see what you guys think. I know where my head's at, but I don't know where your guys' heads are at, so
we'll see.
We shall see, Jim. I had to call in the expert, Jimmy Knorp.
I'm here.
He's here. Hat backwards today. Bold.
Bold statement today.
And repping the...
What's
your mascot?
Is it a
An ocelot.
What's an ocelot?
It's a cat.
What kind of cat?
I don't know, man.
Big cat.
Big cat.
Big cat.
Big cat.
And you're repping Brian. I should have worn my
yes,
MS.
Sir. Come on.
I didn't get the...
You didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the alma mater memo.
Texted before.
Yeah. Wear college gear.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo, but gonna be a good pod today. And this is the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. Jack, welcome back.
Thanks, bro.
Hello.
Good to be back.
Jim, thanks for joining us tonight.
Anytime.
I had to bring in the experts, the big guns, co-host and Jim Jam. Postseason time. We got a lot to talk about in terms of predictions. And this year, this is being recorded on August 24th, folks. So we're recording this actually before the playoffs. This is not a fabricated prediction thing we're doing in real time. We are recording this prior to the postseason being played in real time. So these are 100% genuine reactions. Last year, Jack, we got called out. I don't know if you realize this, but I didn't at the time. It was totally unintentional, and I did, for the record, give you guys my genuine predictions that I thought beforehand. Like, I had written them down so I could talk about them on the pod. But, yeah, so it turned out last year, the 4 teams that you and I had in our World Series, I think I had Eagles versus Preds, and you had Wildcats versus Mallards.
Didn't make it.
So the 2 teams that we didn't predict were the 2 that made it there.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of speculations like, they didn't pick these 2 teams, they're going to make it. So we got a little bit of hate for that.
Okay, well, to be fair, it
was genuine for me.
I mean, that says enough about the league in general.
I know.
It's like those are the teams that end up making it.
I agree 100%. But, yeah, so we decided this year, it worked out with the schedules. Let's pre-record. Let's do it in real time. Let's give some genuine predictions. Let's bring in the wiffle ball expert himself, and let's make it happen. So real quick, Jim, I wanted to ask you about the Cobras Preds series because Jack has not seen that yet. That was last Friday's video. Me and you were both there to witness that beatdown that the Preds put on the Cobs. Did that surprise you at all?
Not really surprised at all, honestly. I feel like the Preds have always been a good team. They just got off to a really slow start at the beginning of the year. They actually remind me a lot of the Diamondbacks last year. Like, we got off to a slow start, but we knew we were a good team. Preds are the same way. I feel like the Cobras they still have a little bit of learning to do with the plate. There's certain players who, like, I don't know, just not great at bats in that series for sure, especially off a great pitcher like Ryan Cratch. Like, that guy's on a different level right now. I really think the Preds could make a big run just because of what he's doing. Like, I think of myself as a guy who messes around a lot on the mound with like windups and things like that, but he's doing things that like I could never do. Like the way he's stepping left and throwing different pitches off the mound is crazy right now. So tip your hat to Ryan and really all the Preds. They all played well. Like Ward has stepped up big time too in the second half too.
The Preds, well, first of all, let's talk about Ryan. Yeah, so Jack, we've seen some of the acrobatics from Ryan throughout the years, and we saw it in Philadelphia, how he like stepped off the mound and made a crazy pitch to Davenport, I think it was. But it was on another level against the Cobs. Like, it was truly an acrobatic performance,
Even more
especially
than
in Game 3.
the last video they had against, what was it, the Wildcats? Because he was dirty in that video too.
The guy's not even looking half the time.
No,
He's throwing strikes.
It was
crazy.
unbelievable. Like, it was the most dominant. Like, it reminded me of me pitching back in 2017 against the Seahawks, but like on steroids. Like, he was truly toying with them. It was almost disrespectful to an extent, but like he was getting the outs.
Man,
yeah, it was
that's scary.
Pure dominance from Ryan Kratch, especially in Game 3 when everything was said and done for the Cobras already. But the Preds, I think I've just realized, are such a mental team. Like, they can be the best team in the league if they believe they are, or they can be the flat-out worst team in the league if their heads aren't right. Like in Philly, for example, or prior to that against the Magic when no one wanted to play in the rain and stuff. Whereas against the Cobras, I think they came in with a really good attitude. Ryan was pumped, and Ward and Russell, like, having a chance at the postseason, were all excited. And those two had their best series of the year, and Rudy's still contributing too. So it makes them dangerous. That was the word you used to describe him, I think.
Rudy's a big factor too. Like, Rudy coming in out of the first half really wasn't contributing much at all. And now, like, when Rudy's in the box, this second half, like, I view him as a threat at the plate. Like, he's actually putting together really good at-bats. We know about the great baseball background. It was only a matter of time before that translated to wiffle ball. And, like, his second half was impressive too. I've been really impressed with Rudy's at-bats as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the pro ball that finally got him over the edge, seeing 95 plus consistently out there in Utica, Michigan, or what, but he's definitely stepped it up. He's a busy guy, so it's been tricky trying to schedule him for the playoffs too, but I know the Preds like really, really want him there, so that'll be interesting to see what happens. But I guess I think he'll be there for sure to play the Cats in the DS. We'll see about the CS, but I think if they do win the DS, we'll try to make it happen for Rudy. But yeah, Rudy played well again, Jack. Ryan pitched unbelievably. Like you said, just kind of bad at-bats from Sawyer specifically.
Did Warda and Russell have some homers? It sounded like they played well.
Warda played really well.
Warda hit, like I said, they're just mental. Mm-hmm. Like when they think they can, when they're confident, it's all of a sudden they remember how to play again. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing.
And I don't want to pick on a player too much, just like certain at-bats, like Sawyer, for instance, they were facing McGlade, who McGlade's kind of struggled with command this year. And it was like big situation, maybe first and second, one out, nobody out. And McGlade walked like two guys and he threw 7 straight balls. And Sawyer walks up there and he swings at the first pitch that like hit him in the chest. It was nowhere near the strike zone. So it's just those little things, like you have to grind out at bats like that. And when the guy's struggling, you got to make him earn strikes. And I don't know, just some of the at bats, not impressed for sure.
Yeah.
The Cobras offense.
Just to speak on the Cobras season, because it is now over, I was definitely disappointed in being a little bit. Not to say he can't bounce back next year in the future, because I know he loves the sport. He plays a lot. He plays in our league, KWL, travels to tournaments and stuff like that. But you kind of pointed it out after the World Series to me, because I was like, I love Sawyer. I think he could be really good next year. And you're like, Tom, he swings at too many pitches outside the zone. And now that I was looking for that this year, I really did notice that. Just like not having the best approach sometimes, like you said, seeing guys that are wild and him still taking swings, things like that. Just swinging and missing probably too much. And overall, it was just kind of a disastrous season for the Cobras offense.
They really struggled, and kind of like I said, like in my Patreon, like preseason ratings, like I was like, Barron's a great pitcher, but to ask Barron to be as good as he was in 2022, like that's just not a reasonable expectation because of how good he was in 2022. So they really needed that offense to step up this year, and unfortunately, it just didn't really happen at all. Nothing clicked for them all year.
Were you? How'd you feel about the Preds getting in instead of the Cobras as the 1 seed awaiting the DS winner?
Yeah, I kind of expected it going into that. I think the Preds have always sort of, like you said, they're such a mental team, and I think they always really get up for that Cobras series.
They do, but they laid an egg last year.
They did, but
that's why I was that was the only thing that surprised me a little bit, is because I thought maybe Sawyer would finally have a good series because it was against the Predators and he did so well last year, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like after that series against the Wildcats, you know, the way Ryan was pitching, and just the chance to go to the postseason after the start that they had, you know, I feel like they were really going to just leave it all out there. So I'm not really surprised that they were able to get the edge over the Cobras. I think that's the best. I think that's the best 3 teams for sure in the AL. In my opinion.
I agree. Especially
I agree
present
100%.
day.
Yeah.
Like based on what we saw in the second half, I think the Predators are for sure a hotter team than the Cobras.
Yeah.
And they probably deserved it.
I think just a more experienced and complete team too.
Well, I guess we can get into some predictions. You guys want to start with the AL or the NL today? I don't really have a strong preference, to be honest.
Let's go NL. We got the 2 NL guys here.
Well, we got an AL guy here too.
Yeah, 2v1.
Okay. NL first. So what we are looking at, I have a little mock-up bracket in front of us. So we have the D-backs and the Eagles facing off in the NLDS for the second straight season. and the Mallards back in the 1 seed. We squeaked it out just barely by the skin of our teeth. So same as last year, Jim.
You're welcome.
Last year, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. But last year, you guys were the 3 seed, right?
Yep.
Not that it makes a huge difference, but it's a difference nonetheless. I guess, Jack, you called NL. You start then. What do you think is going to go down in the NLDS?
I mean, come on. It's hard to go against Jimmy here. But I got the D-backs getting out of the DS for sure. I mean, I think that ultimately you'd be a fool to bet against these guys in the postseason. Sorry, Dan. I think I think it'll be a close series, a competitive series. But if I had to, gun to my head, which team am I going to pick? It's definitely the D-backs.
Okay. Yeah, I think last year I picked the D-backs in this series as well I think I picked the Eagles actually, but I had a feeling the D-backs would win because the D-backs matched up well against the Eagles last season. This year, the D-backs Eagles regular season series was totally lopsided. That was when Dan fell off in Detroit. It's been a while, been a couple months since that matchup. I do think the Eagles are a better team now than they were back in June.
Agreed.
Yep. And I think this series will actually probably be pretty good. Dallas has been playing well. Blade has been a factor. Landon's back healthy. Dan hit the ball well against the Gators. I'm forgetting how he did in his last series. Oh, and Vermont he did all right too. But I think Dan's been playing better. I think overall just the squad is in a better space than they were in Detroit. That was like their cave of the season. Yeah. That was their valley of the season. Not saying they're at a peak now, but I think they're going to put up a fight. I don't think you're going to have it too easily, Jim. I think big factors in this series is number one, how well Dallas can pitch. If he can limit the D-backs to 0-1 runs, give his squad a chance, that's pretty big. Jim, I guess same goes to you. Pitching is always important in wiffle ball.
Yeah.
Pishka. I think Pishka has a big role in this postseason. Now with the 4-man lineups, the depth, like I would say prior to this year, like, oh, the Eagles have more depth than the D-backs all day long. Pishka's been a good pickup for you. He's been showing it late in the year that he can really swing it. Got one of the best swings in MLW, probably. Hits the ball very hard. It's very gorgeous.
So pretty.
And he's a dedicated kid. He drives a long way for these series. So I think he could play a big factor in your guys' offense this postseason, along with you, Jonah, and the ever so rare contribution from Michael Shima. But I'm going to go D-backs. I'm going to say 3 games. I think it'll be a good series again. It'd be a tough one.
I think it'll go 3.
If the Eagles lose, that's kind of a heartbreaker again. But I think the Eagles do view.
It's a heartbreaker for either team.
I know. Yep. But I think the Eagles do view themselves as the underdog this year, whereas last year they were kind of the favorites going into it. They had a great season last year.
I think that favors them.
I think it will too a little bit.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Jim?
Yeah, I would like to think that this is a series that we should win and can definitely win. I think coming into the playoffs in general, though, I just want to take a lot of pressure off of myself and my guys. Like, I feel like all year we've been feeling like the pressure, and I don't really know why. Like, I feel like we don't really need to prove ourselves anymore. Like, we've won twice.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Guys in the league are like saying we don't want it as much as we used to, and that kind of fires us up too. Like, I've heard that being said. So we definitely want to come out. We want to win. I think this series, a lot of it will come down to Dallas. Like, Dallas, in my opinion, is probably a top 3 pitcher in this league still. When he's on, he's tough to hit.
Yeah.
But the thing has always been with Dallas is when he gets down and he gets a little wild, can he find it and can he bring his control back? I think that's going to be a huge factor in this series. Like, if we get a couple of runners on against Dallas, can he bear down and shut us out in the inning still? Because that's a huge factor. I know I'm a guy like that. Doesn't faze me, honestly. Like, if I give up 2 runners, like, I still have the confidence to get the next 3 guys out. So it's going to be big on that part. Like you said, Pishka is going to be huge. The support behind me this year has been awesome. Like, I'm having my worst year in MLW at the plate, and the D-backs are still so great because the other guys have stepped up so much. Jonah's been great. He's having a great year. Pishka's been great. Shima's definitely going to probably get most of the reps in that 4 spot still because I'm a big believer if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we've won 2 years with Shima. I'm not going to really try to take him out of that lineup right now. So I like our chances. And another big thing, like last year, I felt like I didn't really have a second pitcher I was too comfortable going with.
True.
I have Trey Flood now, who I do have confidence in. He's already shut out that Eagles offense before. So if something goes wrong in game 1, like I won't really hesitate to give the ball to Trey.
But no Bennett this series.
No. But Bennett won't be there.
That's what I'm saying. No Bennett.
Yeah. Bennett won't be there at all. No
that's
Bennett.
a factor.
That's a factor.
That's
he brings
a factor.
The energy.
He brings a lot of energy.
And he could be a 4-bat too. Like him, if Shima really is struggling, like Bennett would have been a guy I could go to for sure.
Yeah, no Bennett in the DS. Bennett will hopefully be there for the CS if you guys are to win. But
if we're fortunate.
So Bennett goes to school at University of Missouri, Jack. So he's like 12 hours away now by car.
Like,
we might be able to coordinate like a flight for him if they were to win, but for this DS, it just didn't work out. So we're all going D-backs, sounds like, huh?
What about Trey Flood in the batting lineup? Because he batted pretty well against us, actually. I think he had a home run against us.
He did, yeah. So I
That's right.
I texted.
Yeah,
It was kind of
he
a,
hit a
that was
bomb.
it was kind of a looper. I wouldn't call it.
I don't know. And then he had some good swings. Like I did tell Trey I told Trey a couple days ago, I was like, hey man, like playoffs coming up, Bennett won't be there. Like if Shima really is struggling, like you were swinging the bat well. And he said he feels confident. Like he was like, yeah, I changed some things up and my swing feels better than ever. And he did have good at-bats against the Magic. Not only did he homer, he roped one off of the wall. So
I think
he's seen Dallas a lot. Like they play a lot together.
Gotta
So
be honest,
there's a chance.
And Matt, you're a traitor if you're watching this. I think that was a Coach Matt tip that helped out Trey. That's the rumor that I heard.
Coach Matt still helping out the D-backs.
That's what Matt was supposed to not do this year, was help out the D-backs. But he's helped me out a lot too. Yeah, like I said, I forgot about Trey's performance against the Magic because I haven't seen that video yet. It's not fresh in my head.
Yeah.
But it's part of the tricky part about doing these predictions.
It is. It is a little tricky.
With no videos, but I like it though. It's more genuine for sure.
It is.
Everyone's going D-backs. All right, that's kind of what I expected. Let's go over to the ALDS. Preds Cats. I'll lead this one off. Good voice crack there. This series is kind of a weird one for me, and I don't really know why. Because to me, I hate to say it, but with the way the Preds are playing and the way they've played against the Cats forever, it seems like a no-brainer to pick the Preds. But at the same time, I feel like the Cats have just had moments this year where it's like, wow, these guys are real like World Series contenders. But they just haven't been playing their best wiffle ball lately. They didn't play very well in Vermont. They laid an egg against the Preds. I just feel like Schultz, Pearson, and Saylor don't really have the most dynamic of stuff. Kyle probably has the best stuff, but the Preds have seen him the most, you know. And the Preds, once again, the Preds are a mental team. They are so mentally strong against the Wildcats. They think they're going out there and winning this series and beating them. If Kyle throws, if Saylor throws, whoever. So I think that does play to the Preds' favor. However, being too cocky is also never great. So I know the Cats want this one bad. They lost last year in ugly fashion in the same series. And I know Kyle was like excited to have a chance at the Preds again. So I'm going to once again say good series, better than people think it will be. I don't think it'll be quite as ugly as last year or the regular season was this year, but I'm still going to go with the Preds.
Jim?
Yeah, don't want to follow Tom too much here, but like you said, it's a weird series for me too because I actually think the Wildcats are a better wiffle ball team than the Preds, but I think the matchup
that's well said in a harsh way, but it's like that's how I'm feeling too.
Oh yeah, but the matchup, like they just don't see Ryan Kratch at all, and for good reason. Kratch is a great pitcher, but like I can tell you that talking to some of the Wildcats players, I know that they wanted the Preds, like they want to prove that they can beat them. Like when the Preds Cobras series came out or whatever, like they wanted to see the Preds win because they wanted to play them again, which is cool. I think a lot to do with the series is going to come down to Jackson Pearson. I'm very interested to see how Kyle manages the pitching staff. Like Kyle's always been the guy, but in their series, like Jackson he pitched pretty well till he really lost it at the end. Like he pitched good,
and weather was a factor in that.
Right? Yeah, like to start by like it was a 6-inning extra inning game. I think they lost with Pearson on the mound, so Pearson pitched pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get the ball at all, but I don't know. I just feel like the Wildcats have to find a way to score against Ryan Kratch, and I don't think they can do it. So I'm gonna go Preds, but I think it's gonna be a good series. I would not be surprised either way with who.
I wouldn't either, and either of these DS matchups, I wouldn't be surprised either way. It's just this is the magic where it's back. It's playoff time. The execution. Got to execute in the big days, the big moments.
That's true. I mean, like you guys said, this is a really tough series, really close series. I ultimately think it kind of comes down to game one. Like whoever wins game one, I think is gonna be a big factor because if the Wildcats come out and they get after Ryan early, I think that changes the Preds mentality like twofold. You know what I mean? Like they won't have the same kind of pep in their step. And conversely, if it's like the Preds win, I think they're going to have a ton of confidence going through those next two games if need be to get that second win. So it's tough to go against Ryan with apparently how hot he is still pitching. And just with him at the plate, I think Alec probably likes batting against Kyle more than anyone too. Just because all those Predators like have played against him for so long, and he's definitely their best pitcher. Like I don't know if Kyle has enough confidence to throw Jackson or Nick in this series. So if it's just Kyle, I think the Preds, see him well enough, and I think Ryan should be able to limit the runs, enough for the Preds to get the win. So I'm going to pick the Preds too. I hate to keep going with what everyone else has, but I ultimately think like we've said, they just match up better. It's tough to get through that Cats lineup, though. Like
it is, but
he did it the first time.
The Preds seem to do it, no problem.
But You know, if you were looking at the trends, one person would say, well, the Preds consistently beat the Wildcats. And then the other person would say, well, that means the Cats are due. You know what I mean? The Cats are due. So I don't know. I think ultimately my pick will be the Predators, but I think it'll be a close series and an exciting one.
We talked a little bit about like managing pitching staffs and lineups and whatnot, and I feel like it's hard to emphasize to you guys. Maybe you do appreciate that and realize that as fans, but managing your lineup and setting a lineup for the postseason and selecting pitching is so stressful because the games are so short. Critical decisions can make or break a World Series, literally. And obviously, a lot of it's premeditated. Like, you know who you're going to start and who you might go to game 2 if you win versus who you might go to if you lose. Right. All that kind of stuff. But when it's happening out there, man, and things are getting stressful and it's down to crunch time, it can be very stressful. So it's one of the reasons why I'm excited to have Matt on my squad this year is because while I'm worried about my at-bats and my approach and keeping everybody in check mentally, I'll have Matt to turn to make decisions if we need to about who's hitting, who's pitching, that kind of thing. So,
you know who doesn't have any tough decisions to make, though?
Who?
Ryan Kratch and Alec Warda. I'd be shocked if anybody's on the mound but Kratch in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. That's probably the easiest bullpen to manage in all of MLW.
Pretty simple. He's going all 3 games.
Most likely, yes. But he's been.
That's one thing about the Predators, like going into the playoffs, and I mean some other teams too that may not have may have a big drop off from their first arm to their second arm. Like they don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah. And especially with a guy like Ryan, who we've talked about, it seems like like Alex said, it's like he's got like 7 different arsenals that he can go to. So he can essentially just be 3 different pitchers if he needs to pitch 3 games.
Yeah. He can be. That's probably doable in the DS and CS, but a 5-game World Series could be tricky. It'd be insane if he did it. Imagine he throws like all 5 games and the Preds win a World Series.
True.
Be wild. But all right, well, I like that. We all got the same matchups in the championship series, so it makes it pretty easy to talk about. We'll bounce back to the NL here. We all have D-backs versus Mallards. I guess Jim, you can lead this one off.
If this matchup does happen, it's going to be a lot because after what happened last year, I don't know if my heart can take another series
that took a year off my life at least.
That was stressful, most nervous I've probably been in my entire life.
You said something funny to me recently, like, Tom, I can't take it again.
I don't know if I can. There's no way. It was just so intense, so tough, but
it was awesome.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go against my guys. I think my D-backs can take it, but I'm also a big believer. If you've seen any of the Patreon videos, I've said all along, I think the Mallards are the best team in MLW. That doesn't mean I don't think we can beat them, but going through that lineup, it's stressful. No, there's no easy outs for me. I feel like all 4 of you guys, even it doesn't matter what 4 guys you hit, that 5-man core you guys have, they all see me well. Robles is not fun to face. I think he's the smartest pitcher in MLW. He might not have the best stuff, but he's smart. He knows all of our weaknesses. He sets guys up. Sometimes I'll know where he throws it. He'll throw me an inside screwball, and I'm thinking in my head he's going to throw me an inside screwball, and I still swing at it because I just want to hit it. So I don't know, man. How we did it last year, the D-backs winning that series, it took a lot of magic. It really did. That was everything I had. That's my proudest moment in MLW as a player, for sure, winning that series. So it'll be hard to win it again, but I feel like that is a matchup the fans definitely want to see. Me and Robles going at it is
I'm nervous
a battle.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah. That's why we wanted to win the division, to hope we didn't have to see you guys in the playoffs at all, honestly. Hopefully, we're hoping that the Eagles could somehow beat you guys in the first round. But
you snake.
Yep, that's what you guys that's what you guys have now, too. Obviously, we have to get through the Eagles, but I feel like this is definitely a matchup fans want to see for sure.
I feel like I guess I'll make my prediction now if it's cool with you, Jack.
Go ahead. I got to be the guy who
you're the middleman, I guess.
Right here,
but I was thinking back to last year too, and to be honest, I do. It's not like I want one team or another to win really bad. I'm not if the Eagles win, it's a cakewalk for us. Like you said, when Dallas is on, he's kind of scary. The Eagles have traditionally hit Robles pretty well too. If you look back at last year's series, this year's regular season series, he can usually get through him once, but the second time he goes out there, they usually hit him. So I don't really have a strong opinion of who do you want to face. The only thing that my heart wants is I do want to beat
redemption.
Jim. I do want redemption, of course. That's what the storyline, that's what the script says. I want the redemption. But it'd be an honor to play that series again. Just to get the rematch should be cool. I think the fans would enjoy it. The players, it'd stress us out.
I'd enjoy it.
I think everyone would enjoy it. So of course we want that to happen, but we'll see if the Eagles can knock you guys out. I will say, like you said, Jim, last year, you said it was it took some magic for you guys to win.
Yeah.
It was a very even series. Very even. You and Robles both pitched unbelievably. both sides like didn't have a ton of contribution from the role players at all. Shima had the big hit that may have been the difference.
That's
in the series,
what he does.
To be honest. Yeah,
That's why he's playing.
Shima had the big hit. And I don't know if I've ever said this in the podcast. You probably don't even remember this, but there's still an at-bat that to this day haunts me a little bit. It was in the bottom of the third or bottom of the fourth. I can't remember, but you were pitching in game one. And game one, I was like 0 for 10 or whatever it was. But on the consecutive pitches, and I could roll the clips right now for you guys. I hit a foul ball bomb left of the foul pole in left field. Next pitch was a foul ball to the right field, foul of the foul pole. And then I struck out. Not saying we deserve to win, but I'm saying like that moment still haunts me. And I was like, gosh, like you said, it just seemed like it was written in the stars for you guys to win. And it just, for whatever reason, it was not in our cards last year to win it. We just didn't play good enough. We didn't execute enough. Like I said, I was close in those moments to executing, but there was other opportunities where I got pitches to hit and I just didn't hit them. There was another play, speaking on personal things, where game 3, as darkness was looming, perfect game was going on. I think it was my second at bat. My first at bat was the strikeout I'm still salty about to this day. The one that nicked.
Might have been low.
Yep. The next at bat, I got a slider right down the middle, Jim. I don't know what you were thinking,
Me
but
neither.
I popped it up. I skied it to center, and that could have been easily one that I should have hit. So just didn't. Was millimeters off of
You
executing.
got such a good memory.
It's so close.
He really does haunt
You
you.
can remember
It haunts
everything
me.
from that series.
The funny thing is I deleted those clips off my phone of the foul balls. I'm like, I don't want to see these ever again. But when I reference them, they're still in my like iCloud history of text messages. I've sent them to Daniel Schultz. Daniel was not there that day, and he texted me the next morning. He's like, "Yo, who won?" And I was like, "Dude, we lost a heartbreaker." I was like, "Look at these foul balls." Like, I was salty, you know. So yeah, I still can see them. I can still find them to this day in that text thread. But this year, finally prediction time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be once again an absolute barn burner. I think it'll be the clash of the Titans, Jimmy versus Robles, as it should be. And but I do think last year's loss could benefit us tremendously in this series. I know, like last year, yeah, it stressed me. I did feel like I didn't manage the bullpen very well. I let Jordan go the whole time. Not saying he didn't do a good job, but I just think that Jimmy putting in Jonah for a couple innings was huge, made a big difference in that series. I didn't have the confidence in anybody else to throw them. So now I have a guy like Caden, who I really, really trust, who has a couple years under his belt. Davenport's pitched before. Matt's. I have 5 guys who can throw.
Throw Matt against us.
So probably won't throw Matt. You guys know Matt too well, but I have a lot of arms.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that throwing Robles is maybe the smartest idea, but I guess we'll see when the time comes. I also think Robles right now in the second half of this season, since the All-Star break, has been playing the best wiffle ball he ever has in MLW.
Agreed.
You haven't seen those videos yet, neither of you, all of them, but against the Gators, he was phenomenal. Against the D-backs, he was really good both on the mound and at the plate. And I played my worst wiffle ball in the last 2 years in those 2 series. For context, guys, I've been waiting to say this, but not that it matters. It's a weak excuse, but both those last 2 series were played on Tuesdays. So I've been running on like 0 sleep with the podcast edit and then the YouTube short upload, and then just going to these games like a zombie. I remember Snapchatting my like family group chat of like my cousins and stuff the day of the Gators series, so the last one of the year for us, and I was like, just know when you guys watch the Gators versus Mallard series, you're looking at a walking corpse of Tommy Colgan out there. I was dead. So Jack, the night prior was the night where I drove out to you to get the card signatures.
Oh yeah.
So the night before was a pod edit, and then it was Patley Card's deadline. I need to get signatures sent to him, so I had to drive to Detroit to meet Warda, and then I drove to Lansing to meet my sister to give her stuff to bring to Grand Rapids to Brennan Russell. Like I had everyone was helping, and then I drove to Detroit to find Warda, then Auburn Hills to you.
Mm-hmm.
She got Russell and Ty Smith, and like it was just a nightmare of a 24 hours. So like I think I got 1 hit in that series to give me a total of 1 hit in the second half. Once again, it's a pretty weak excuse. Not saying that's why I played bad, but it definitely didn't help. I also like didn't really watch any film beforehand, didn't practice at all. We were so busy in the months of July and August. So unfortunate, because I had a pretty good year going, and my batting average is probably like 200 now. I'm not sure. I didn't do the math. But,
Oh gosh.
yeah, it was bad.
Wow,
I'm
that's
like,
so bad.
I'm like
Tom.
1 for my last 15 or 16, like really bad.
I would kill for 200
But
average.
all that being said, is Robles is playing the best he ever has right now. I feel like I've played my worst, and we still won 6 games in a row, and I'm been practicing. I'm going to continue practicing leading up until this series. So I feel like we are pretty talented right now. And Preston's been playing really good too. He played great against the D-backs and the Gators. Matt knows the D-backs and all those guys really well. He couldn't keep the ball fair against you guys the first time, hit a bunch of foul balls. But I do think this year that we have the staff, in terms of me and Matt, to manage the squad correctly. We have the talent. We have the playoff experience now. We've been there. We know what it's going to be like that day with the nerves and the adrenaline and whatnot. And unbiasedly, knowing all that, I do think we're going to win this series. I hope.
Well, I hate to be this guy. Honestly, when I was driving here thinking about this, I knew it was going to be this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to go one way. And now, after talking about it a little bit and thinking about it, I'm going the other way.
Oh, God. Who sold you?
Who
was the better salesman?
It's really tough, like we've said, to go against Jimmy and the Diamondbacks in the playoffs. But I think if there's one team and more so like one player that can do it, it's Jordan Robles. And in the last video that came out against the Diamondbacks, to be honest, he just looked like he was like angry. Like he wasn't even satisfied at all with that series win. And I feel like he's just so locked in for this playoffs. Like his mindset towards like winning a World Series in this league, he's so all in for it. I feel like he's just, his dedication and like focus is going to be on another level. And like you said, he played well. Is there one more series for you guys that'll come out before this podcast, or was that the last one against the Diamondbacks?
Well, this podcast is coming out when the whole season's already out, Jack. Remember?
Yeah.
So like they've seen everything.
No, I know. But like, is there another video between right now and this moment?
Yeah.
Where this is like Inception right now.
You have not seen Gators versus Mallards yet.
Okay.
That was lopsided.
But he was dialed in that too. He's dialed.
Multi-homer series, pitched the lights out.
What I expected.
Yeah.
Had to win 3 games and won 3 games.
What I expected. And I mean, it's tough to keep him off the board in terms of hitting. Like he's bound to poke one out.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I think like if you do need to go to Caden, he's shown that he can be serviceable like when needed. Like he's taken those steps. When he first came into the league, it was a bit rocky, and I think he's grown a lot. And I think that's something, like you mentioned, is way different from a year ago with your team. And I think, like you said, you have a lot more confidence going to him. This one is going to be tough. Like I honestly,
this should be a 5-game
like you were
series.
saying, like the Mallards are the best. You think they're the best team in the league? Yep. I honestly, comparing the Diamondbacks and the Mallards, if this was like a video game, I think would have like the exact same rating. Like they're just, 2 really good wiffle ball teams. So I think ultimately, like, it's just going to come down to players making plays, and I think Jordan's just going to make more plays. Sorry.
Can I make an incredibly bold statement right now?
I love bold statements.
Just incredibly bold. I think this is so bold, though. It's almost like too bold to put on camera. But I'll say it. I think you put any of those 3 teams on the left side against the winner of the AL, I think the winner's coming out of the NL.
I agree.
I got to be honest.
I agree 100%.
It's bold. It's very bold.
And
Jack's not going to like it, but I gotta do my job, Jack. You know me. I got to do my job.
Fair enough.
And I also just want to...
But the sad thing is now we're going to watch this back, with this being a genuine podcast now.
Yeah.
And I was going to get swept.
So wrong.
And it's going to be embarrassing
so
for whoever was wrong. It's going to be a clippable moment. We're going to get shredded on TikTok. Like when you guys beat us in the World Series, it's going to be I'm getting flamed for what I just said. But that's part of the job. So.
And I also just want to point out real quick, since you said that we think that the winner's coming from the NL, I want to point out, as a Diamondbacks manager and player, we are not going into that Eagles series like knowing we're going to face the Mallards. Like we know we got to take care of business against the Eagles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I just want the people to know that. Like we're not already thinking about the Mallards right now. We're knowing that the Eagles are a good team and we have to beat them.
The Eagles are the one team that I'm like on the fence about that statement with. Really, Jack, the Magic are so new. I don't know how to judge you yet. I can't gauge
it's
you.
Hard.
We'll get into it. I know that's
hard.
That's very true. That's very true. We'll get there. We'll get there right now. So, did you make your pick, the Mallards? Is that what you're going with?
I'm going with the Mallards.
Okay.
I'm going with you, Tom.
All right. Well, speaking of the new team, the Magic, let's get into Magic versus Preds, boys. I'll let you talk first, Jack.
Okay.
This is your squad.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a loser if I didn't pick my own team in this.
Well, hey, I'd respect it.
No, I think that we have shown the most consistency from top to bottom in the league, honestly, all year. Like, we've won in so many different ways. We've had a lot of games won where it's just like we're scrapping to get the dubs. And like what you talked about with the Preds being, really high and really low based on their mentality, I feel like our team is the exact opposite from that, where like we never feel like we're out of a game. And when we are, up in a game, like it's all about just the next play, like the next at bat, next pitch, just trying to take care of business, which has been a lot different than some of the other Magic teams that I've had in years past. So I'll just say that first. And I think our first series against the Preds was more lopsided than it probably should have been. I think them, being uncomfortable, going up against RJ for the first time, like a lot of teams were that played us this year, that definitely played a factor. But ultimately, I think like having more pitching depth, being the Magic, having more pitching depth if needed, I think that favors us. I think we're all starting to like, aside from Grant, I think the rest of our lineup is really starting to see the ball well here towards the end of the season.
That's true.
Whereas like in the beginning, we were kind of, almost had a little bit of effects from last season. But I think we're really starting to turn it around and have solidified our lineup. I think like we've talked about, Trevor's doing like a really good job turning the lineup over.
Trevor's been phenomenal.
Grant,
he's been getting
underrated
the
player.
The more times we can get Grant looks at Cratch, like the better. Mm-hmm. And he's just like such a hard out. So I think that ultimately we are the better team. I think we're the best team out of those three teams on the board. So I got the Magic going to the World Series.
In short, I agree with you, Jack. I think the Magic do make the World Series this year. You guys played well both against the Wildcats and the Predators the first time. However, I will say a couple things that can make this series interesting is if it is Ryan there or if it's Kyle Schultz and the Wildcats, I feel like you got to call a spade a spade. Like, you'd probably be a fool to throw to Grant, right? To really go at him with, like, anything that remotely is, like, say it's 2-0 and you throw him, like, a riser down the middle. Like, that just seems foolish. You know what I mean? So I feel like unless you're ahead in the count against that guy or the bases are loaded, I don't really see why you'd want to go right at him. So that might require guys like yourself, AJ, Bonham to have a big hit. That might be what it takes to get you to the World Series.
Yeah.
I do think your pitching staff is pretty good. RJ, he's pitched all year now, so he has the experience. He doesn't have the postseason experience yet, but
he's been in big moments, though. And
he's a pretty level-headed kid.
He's definitely level-headed for his age, and I think the St. Louis series was really good for him because it kind of didn't go his way early, and I like wanted to see that at some point, to kind of see how he would react to that, and I think he reacted well. I mean, he came back in Game 3, and I think it was a shutout if I'm remembering correctly. So, I mean, I think he's talented, but also at the same time, like he seems more experienced than he is from my side, my standpoint.
Yeah. So, two things that I really like about the Magic team that Jack was talking about. One, he said that opposite of the Preds, they're never too high, they're never too low. I think to make a playoff run and win a World Series, that's huge. Like, you
guys have great leadership.
Yeah, great leadership on the team. And I know, like, in our World Series runs, especially the one last year, there were times where, like, we were down bad and, like, had to keep our heads up and stay confident. So that's huge. And RJ Walgate, for a 14-year-old, is one of the most poised pitchers I've ever seen in
15 now.
15 now, yeah. Poised pitchers I've ever seen in baseball or wiffle ball. Like, that guy does not get down on himself. And after facing him, too, like, his stuff's nasty, but more importantly, he throws strikes. And, like, when you're not walking guys, a solo home run's not going to kill you. So that's huge for RJ as well. I think a big thing for the Magic is, again, like Tom talked about, how often can they get guys on base where you're forced to pitch to Grant Miller?
Yeah,
like if it's
that's well said.
If it's first and second, nobody out, you can't walk Grant. Like you can't do it. So, and the guy, I think guys have been stepping up though. Like Jack's second half was good. Jack had good at bats against us.
Come on.
I think AJ's super underrated. Like facing AJ, I thought even when he was making outs, I thought he was having really good at bats off of guys like me and Trey. So AJ's solid. And Trevor Bonham, I think, is the most underrated player in MLW, both on the mound and at the plate. Guy just gets on base. And I mean, I would be a little bit shocked if you guys had to go away from RJ just because of how dominant he's been. But like having Trev in your back pocket's not a bad thing. I would trust Trevor Bonham.
What was Trevor's ERA this year?
It was pretty low, man. It was probably. I mean, without looking at the numbers, I'd have to imagine it was one of the lower of at least especially of like the second, the number two pitchers for sure.
He throws strikes.
But Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, 'cause once again, I don't have the stats input and I didn't do all the math, but I don't know who finished as the ERA leader with like a certain number of innings pitched. It might have been Bonham. I'm not kidding.
It might have. I don't know.
I know he didn't throw two games a series.
He got
but
roughed up in his last start.
Yeah.
We got
against
5
you guys?
off of him. Yeah.
Okay, dang. I wonder who it was then. Maybe
Probably Cratch or RJ.
We hit a lot off Ryan, though.
I don't know.
Maybe RJ, but RJ gave up 6 against the Cobras. I don't know who it was.
I don't know. I wanted to touch on, though, like what you said about, getting enough guys on base to where you can't really walk Grant. Jimmy had a funny comment when we were trying to schedule the series with the Diamondbacks. Grant obviously couldn't be at the series, and I was obviously pulling for my guys, our best player to like be at the series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jimmy's comment was like, I would just walk him every time anyway.
Yeah, I was like,
because I said I wanted him to be able to see the Diamondbacks pitchers, and he said I would just have him walk them all.
I said I'm giving him 4 fingers every time.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny, but to your point, I feel like the Magic, the rest of our guys in the lineup are doing a good enough job at like being hard enough outs to where we would make a team pay eventually if they're going to keep walking Grant. Like if they don't throw to him at all for a whole game or like a whole series, like I think they would pay for that eventually. Whether it's they're walking in runs because, we're able to get on base through walks, or, eventually someone will come up big with a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scrappy team. The Magic are a scrappy team. They scrap it together.
Scrappy.
What do you think? Are they going to beat the Preds, Jim?
I would lean towards the Preds still.
Okay.
I think Ryan Cratch right now is the best player in MLW right now, the way he's playing. So
He's been the hottest for sure.
He's been the hottest, but it's gonna be that'll be a low scoring series. I think if that is the matchup, Preds Magic, I can see a lot of 1-0.
I think it would be low scoring.
One thing I think is I think Russell and Warda have zero confidence facing RJ.
No,
zero.
I don't think so.
That's one factor I thought about.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's hard. Like I can't see RJ giving up a run, but I struggle to see Cratch giving up runs too. So
yeah. That could be a dogfight.
Yeah, that could be some long
the first
games.
series we played them. It was almost like they were like, "Man, why do we have to go up against this guy?"
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
it was such a mental loss before it even started.
Yeah.
But all right. So Jim's got the Preds. Me and Jack had the Magic, and everybody has the Mallards coming out of the NL. See what happens. This is a tough league.
I don't think Jim's got the Mallards, does he?
No. Oh, sorry. My bad.
No.
So you have D-backs Preds.
Yeah.
We have Magic Mallards, both of us.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, Jim.
We'll pipe it up.
We'll pipe it up matchup.
World Series.
That would be quite the pod. That'd be like almost hard to do. We would need Jim to be our mediator if it was us doing in the World Series.
We'd end up scrapping. It'd be like a UFC like.
That's just fun.
That would be the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Or
it probably
the
would be.
picture on Instagram.
Yeah. I agree.
We'd weigh in before too. With our shirts off.
Okay. We'll do where are we gonna do that at? We're gonna host this event
right here.
I don't know. We'll find a scale.
We'll find a spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to talk about this World Series then. Jim, your matchup is different than ours. You want to start with your D-backs Preds predictions?
Yeah, D-backs Preds. So, I don't know, man. I feel like this is what a lot of people wanted to see last year, so it'd be kind of poetic if this was the matchup this year. A lot of people talked about would the Preds have put up a better fight than the Cobras in the World Series. So, it'd be cool. I mean, we have the Ryan Cratch killer on our team and Casey Bennett. So, if that's how it goes, I like our chances, honestly. But if this was the World Series matchup, I would take my D-backs here. I really would. I think whoever comes out of the NL, like Tom said, will win it all. So I would go us. I just think me and Flood throw the match up well against their offense. I know they touched me up a little bit on opening day, or our opening day, but Flood really shut them down. So like that could be a series if that did happen.
Well, they got. I didn't mean to cut you off. Russell hit a 3-run shot right away, so that was a big part of the issue.
Right.
And then Ryan hit a solo, and that was pretty much it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Flood really shut him down, and then I felt like, I just made one mistake to Russell. Like, I remember I threw the pitch, and I came back to the dugout, and I was like, stupid pitch. Like, what was I thinking? That was like the one pitch I shouldn't be throwing him. But, so yeah, I like the way our pitching staff matches up. Obviously, Cratch is tough, but I think we're a scrappy and deep team where, like, all 4 of us are going to put up good at-bats, and we'll be fighting. Like, if we're there in the World Series having a chance to three-peat, I would want it more than ever. Like, that would be crazy.
I agree.
To make that kind of history in this league with how competitive it is right now, like, the three-peat would be special, so.
If the D-backs three-peat, I'm not sure how I would even feel at that point. Like, That would just be the Jimmy Knorp. Like you're already the most popular guy by far. You would be like enshrined with a statue at the Meadows at that point.
We'd have to put his face on a banner in the outfield.
You have to make a new logo, like a cutout of you with the long flowing hair. It would just be a D-backs
logo. Like,
yeah, it'd be a proud moment though, man. Like it's hard to win in this league.
Hard,
it's
dude.
hard.
I mean, I saw how hard you fought to beat us, and then you took care of the Cobras too. The Eagles, you guys were down bad.
We were down 3-0.
Last
down
year's
to our
run
final
was
6
incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. But if it was D-backs Preds, I'm not gonna give you a whole long-winded answer, but I think I would take the D-backs too.
I probably would too.
It's hard to bet against Jim in the World Series.
Like you said, I think it would be incredible if Ryan could go more than 3 games.
Yeah.
And I think that series would ultimately go.
But I would agree with Jimmy right now that Ryan is playing the best out of anybody in the league. I'd say him and Robles are playing the best with football right now.
Agreed.
So
that's nothing new though. Like he won the MVP last year.
He did. Well, but this year he kind of started sluggish.
He's still kind of underrated.
He did, but like
Ryan?
Yeah, he's underrated.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know. Like he always is. He's always nasty.
Yeah, he is. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I wonder who I would pick.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I'm realizing now that I picked both of the 1 seeds, but that was
fine.
just, I mean, I guess they're the 1 seeds for a reason. But I think this would be such a cool matchup because we didn't play each other this year.
Yep.
So
that
this would be like brand new. I don't think I've ever faced Robles. I don't think I've ever gone up against Caden. I don't know if Grant and Robles have ever faced each other.
This would be so foreign.
Outside
It'd be so foreign.
You have you ever gone up against RJ? You obviously know Trevor.
All-Star 2 at-bats in the All-Star game. That was it.
Against RJ. So minimal seeing RJ. These teams would be very foreign to each other, which I think would make for a pretty exciting series. If I will admit, if there's one team on the NL that, without having played them, I think that we don't match up as good against, it would be the Mallards, just because without looking at the stats, I don't think Robles really struggles with like walking a lot of guys typically. No. Like he kind of attacks the zone. And just like we talked about, like I think the Magic have done a good job at like getting on base when we need to, but ultimately, like if you got a pitcher that's hitting the 10 every time, like you gotta hit it at some point. So that does scare me a little bit. But that being said, overall, if you just looked at our bullpens, I would take the Magic over the Mallards. So I think advantage us there. I think hitting probably advantage the Mallards for obvious reasons.
Depends which Tom shows up in the playoffs, to be honest. Tom, as of late, has been brutal.
Depends with Tom. Depends which Jack.
Yeah, it does. Execution, man.
It depends on a lot. So, I don't know, man. This would be a tough series. I'm obviously going to say Magic. I think it would definitely go more than 3 games, probably 5. Probably pretty low scoring, I would imagine, at least the first couple games, as we kind of figure out the pitchers, each team. But, man, this would be really exciting. Plus, it would be a sick jersey matchup. That's what I was thinking when I was just picturing it, was how cool the jersey matchup would be. Any of our jersey combos would be sick.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm going to take the Mallards. No surprise, I guess. But I'm not just saying this because I'm a homer, guys. Last year, like I said, I didn't predict us to beat the Eagles in the CS series. Ended up losing to Jimmy. But I just think we're ready, and I truly mean that. I'm still a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, but I think if we play our best game, that we're beating anybody in this league. Our 1 series loss this year was to the Wildcats. We got swept. It was ugly. We didn't do a good job mentally at keeping level-headed the whole series. I don't think Jordan was mentally all there that day. And, I just think we're kind of past. I think that was a good one to get out of our system early this year. And Robles has been playing so good. I do have confidence that I can bounce back, even though, like I said, it just takes one at-bat takes 1 home run versus no home runs in a playoff series to make or break your season and your moment. So we got to find a way to string together a couple of hits, get some runners on, and hit the ball out of the park, whether it's Jordan, myself, Caden, whoever. But I think we have the tools to win. I think Robles, like I said, is playing his best. He's pitching very well. I think Caden's a great pitcher. I think even in a 5-game series, like Colm could get out there and throw. So I just think that we're too deep, too talented, and I think that this is our year. So I'm confidently saying that. I think this is our year. I think this is if we lose, I will be very disappointed, put it that way.
Yeah.
Not saying it can't happen. Like, it's tough. Last year I was crushed, but hopefully this year's different.
Yeah. If this was the World Series matchup, I think it'd be interesting because it's funny to me because I feel like these are two of the smarter pitchers in MLW, and you're talking about a 29-year-old and a 15-year-old.
That would be wild.
Right.
You know, like the Super Bowl graphics of like the quarterback age matchup
Right.
would be 29 versus 15.
But RJ Walgate, like, he's a super smart kid. Like, he goes out there with a plan. He doesn't go out there and just try to throw strikes. Like, he goes out there with a plan of how to get hitters out. And I know Robles is the same way because I've seen how he pitches to me, and it's definitely smart. So I think a big thing in this series, too, that we haven't really talked about a lot is defense. I think the Mallards have become a really good defensive team. I think they're second in the league, right behind us. I think you guys play some really good defense. And, like, in series like that where every out is so critical, the teams who don't give up extra outs or even take away hits, like, that's huge because we're talking about 9 outs. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's 9 outs in a wiffle ball game. So if you are giving teams 10 or 11 outs rather than 9, like, that's huge. And I think the Mallards do a really good job of that. I think this series would be low scoring. I'd probably take the Mallards in 4 games. I mean, I've seen the look in Robles' eye, man, and he just wants it so bad this year. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we have to face him, it's like Max Scherzer is what he looks like out there. So if we have to face him in the CS, like, it's definitely going to be a battle there. So I just think Robles wants it bad. Like, he wants to win MLW bad, and I think this is definitely the Mallards team to do it. I've said it all year. I think it's the best team in MLW. Could be one of the greatest teams of all time. So. But then again, it's going to come down to the bullpens. I think the bullpens will play a big part as well. You talk about Trev and Caden. I like Trev there. I think Trev's got a better chance than Caden to go out there and succeed. But overall, that'd be a great series. I'd like it a lot. Mallards in 4.
Mm-hmm. Mallards in 4. That's my prediction, too. It's interesting how you said the bullpens is a big factor. I think it comes down a lot to offensive execution, to be honest. But
yeah, you need big hits.
But I'm excited. Like I said, I'm nervous. I'm excited. I think the fans probably see us as the favorite. Maybe you guys. I think we'd be the 3 favorites right here.
They see you.
You think you see
us?
I think
the fans.
I feel like a lot of this podcast was us like talking about how confident we are in our own team.
Well, I'm being genuinely honest.
Well, I know, but let's be genuinely honest and let's all say one like weakness about our team or why we think one thing that maybe could potentially hurt us in the playoffs.
I like that.
I mean, I'll just say,
let's be brutally honest.
Third person, I think Tommy Coughlin could hurt the Mallards in the playoffs.
That's ridiculous.
No, it's Jim. Okay. I have 1 hit in the last 6 games.
Yeah,
and it was like an infield single.
Too. You're getting on base.
I was better against the D-backs at getting on base. The Gators was literally on a day where the Gators were just there to be there, had nothing to play for, and I was just an auto out. It was ugly. Just wait.
Yeah.
I was ashamed.
You were running on fumes.
I was running on fumes and no practice. So
I mean,
I just think that Jordan is expected to do well. And people were probably pretty careful with him, whether it's Jimmy, whether it's RJ, whether it's Dallas, whatever. I do feel a lot of the weight falls on me for the production in that sense. I know last year I watched back the video recently, Jim. I was looking for clips for a TikTok I was making, and it shocked me how many balls Robles put in play against you guys. For outs.
That's what I'm saying.
Defense is huge.
That's why the D-backs are a good team. We don't give away outs.
I think it's also a weakness for us, though. Like you said, we've been good defensively in the last 2 series. In Philly, we were brutal.
Yeah, you were bad in Philly.
We've had some moments where we're not great defensively, and that can make or break a season. So Preston's been playing better on defense. So have I recently. So that's also like a question mark for me, is our defense. But I like our bullpen personally, and I have a lot of confidence in Robles. And so I think myself it could be a big determining factor. To be honest, I feel the pressure a little bit.
Yeah, you stole mine. Mine was going to be our defense too. I mean, our defense last year was not remarkable by any means, and Grant this year coming in has like definitely helped us a lot on defense, just from like the actual plays he's making, but also like the communication during the plays and like before the plays, after the plays, like all of that, which like, as I've talked about in this podcast and you guys know, like I'm not the best with from like a management standpoint. So he helps a lot there. That being said, we've had moments similar to the Mallards this year where it's like the defense can be a lot better. Ultimately in the playoffs, when every out matters that much more, like when you give away 1 out like that and then someone hits a home run or someone gets, a nice hit off the wall or something, like that can make or break your series and season. So that's one thing I think just like we got to have extra focus on going into the playoffs, that, we're on the top of our game there.
Okay. What about you, Jim?
I think for the D-backs, it might sound like a little weird, but just honestly like the pressure. I don't know why, but like I feel like this year we're feeling it more than ever, especially myself. Like I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like the fans expect a lot out of us, and reasonably so, like because of how good we've been. I feel like they expect a lot out of me as well. So like going out there, like I feel it at times. I really do. It's hard. It gives you like for like big sports, like real professional sports, it gives you like a better like respect for them, like going out there every day. Because like
sure, dude.
Because like we're talking about 450,000 subscribers, and like you feel the pressure out there, you really do. So I mean, in my own head, I'm saying and I'm telling my guys like we have nothing to prove, like we've done it, but sometimes we do feel it out there for sure, especially myself.
I feel like the Diamondbacks feel a little bit more pressure, like statistically, because they have more fans too.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You guys by far have the most fans in the league. Like it's not even close.
Shout out D-back Nation.
Yeah, well, like I feel it too. I was just texting Ryan about this, like because the fans they just saw my D-backs performance, but I think that was just like I had one hit in that series and Robles played well. I didn't see too much hate in the comments, at least the first couple I scrolled through, but like I'm kind of expecting to get trashed after the Gators series. Like, dude, Tommy's like so washed, whatever. See what happens in the playoffs. I'm hoping for better, but
you had 4 bombs in one series, so
I know.
you made up for it. You made up for your whole season in one
It's leveled
series.
out for sure. But yeah, I was just like seeing the Tommy Coughlin jersey sales spike the last like month, and then me playing terrible. I'm like curious how the feedback's gonna be.
That's funny.
But it definitely like I don't.
You saw a spike after that series. After
yeah,
the Philly?
for sure.
Let's
That's
go.
hilarious. That's so funny.
Not that it like bothers me too much. I guess what bothers me the most is like I know what it's like to be a fan of a team as a kid, and I don't know what it's like to be a fan of a wiffle ball team. But I'm assuming it's like pretty similar to when I see these kids' reactions and how excited they are to meet us. Like,
It's like us being fans of the Lions.
yeah, exactly. to an extent,
We're like
yeah.
little kids right now.
Yeah, so it's it does like it puts that you feel the pressure a little bit of like, okay, I do want to win for the kids who bought my jersey and who are coming to the series and that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I do feel that aspect of it as well. I do
Cool,
see
man.
more Robles shirts than Coughlin shirts. Not so much recently, but I do feel the pressure
You'd
just to
expect that.
deliver that. Yeah.
He doesn't have as many voice cracks. That's probably why.
No, a lot wrong with me. Voice crack, sweaty, overdoes it when he eats.
So sweaty.
You guys, by the way, so that podcast
So
just dropped
sweaty.
2 days ago of like the hotel room podcast. That's been so well received.
So
Loving it.
funny.
Gotta do more group pods, Jack. It's hard to
Yeah.
coordinate, but I gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love that one. Already over 1,000 on YouTube. But I mean, that's 54 minutes, folks. It's a lot of talking, a lot of postseason talk. I think we can all say we're somewhat nervous, right? A little bit.
Very nervous.
A little bit.
But confident.
I think like just like nervous with anticipation.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
the perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
We have not yet. By the time you guys are watching this, you probably have heard some news regarding the World Series location. These two have no idea. I might spill the beans to you right now.
You got to spell them right now.
Oh, you should.
But you gotta.
We won't say anything.
You gotta keep cool till tomorrow
We won't
at 5.
say anything.
Yeah.
This would be a live reaction.
It'll be a live reaction, but hopefully Kyle doesn't mind. But tomorrow we'll tell you guys. So we have not signed the paperwork yet. It's not official.
Oh, here we go. This
But-
is what he always says.
I'm too serious. We've
I know.
not signed anything.
I know.
We've had 3 meetings, I think, now. So it's like pretty official. We already have a date, but we're looking at live in front of fans.
Wow.
October 29th, Sunday, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Wow.
In front of fans?
With fans there, yes.
Oh, way.
my gosh.
So the plan is to...
What was it? October what?
It's
29th.
Halloween weekend, which is kind of crappy. But
Oh my god.
hopefully everyone's free. We'll see if the players respond to that well.
I'm sure
but
they'll be all right.
the
They'll skip their
plan-
Halloween plans for that.
I don't even like Halloween.
The ALCS the ALCS drops Friday the 27th. So the fans will they'll know who they're gonna see playing. If that makes sense. So like the tickets will go on sale well before then.
Yeah.
Like that day when they show up, they'll know what 2 teams are gonna watch. So if like results do get leaked somehow, like at least fans won't. The whole postseason won't be ruined. It'll just be one series, which is a big series. So we're gonna very kindly ask everyone to hush on that when they're there. But
How are you gonna do that?
I know, it's
Make
a
them
lot
all
of
sign
people.
NDAs.
you could do that, but it's more so just like you're here. This is awesome. Stay off Twitter for a week if you can, type thing. But we'll see.
Oh, it'll be out in a week?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
because like I start playing on the 29th of October is the plan.
Yeah.
So that's when all the plays have already been uploaded.
I see.
Yeah,
This is
it's a little different.
I'm in like so many layers of Inception right now, I swear.
Yeah, we are. A lot of dates, a lot of planning, but hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, we'll cut that part out. But that's the general plan as of right now. So we'll see, guys.
Unreal.
Flabbergasted.
Unreal. It is unreal. But hopefully it works out. I would love to. Our goal is kind of to get like 1,500 plus there. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Well, we did 525 in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That was a regular season matchup.
I know. That's
So-
sick. That means 3 times the size of that.
Well, Atlanta, the analytically the market there is like 4x of the St. Louis region.
Jeez.
It's
Well,
also
like
a bigger
watchers?
series. Yeah. And then it's also a World Series. It's not a regular season matchup. So that should help it a little bit too. Tickets will be a little bit more expensive. It's kind of out of our control a little bit just to cover the cost of the stadium. But I think I think our ticket minimum is like 1,000, so that's what we got to hit to like make it worth our while. So we'll see, boys. We'll see. Hopefully that's you guys got to see that and it wasn't cut out of the podcast. But we should know in about a week. We're supposed to get a contract before the end of the month. So that's that. Gentlemen, good luck in the coming weeks.
Yeah, good luck, fellas.
Good luck.
Jim's got a game in a couple days.
Yeah.
Jack and me and you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll see each other in Atlanta, I guess. I don't know. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. And NLDS dropping this Friday. We'll see you there.
Pipe it up.